What's up, everybody? Rob coming back at you here from Healthy You, where we help busy entrepreneurs, professionals, executives reverse their insulin resistance so they can lose fat, regain their energy, mental clarity, and overall improve their quality of life. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to properly handle cravings. Now, cravings are very important and you need to know how to manage them because they can make or break your diet or as you input this new lifestyle change and habits that are healthy that you're about to input in to your daily schedule. So, we're going to talk about not only how to properly manage cravings, but a lot of the tips and tricks that I use for myself as well as with my clients to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to mitigate cravings. Pretty much making sure that they minimize the chances of them coming up in the first place. Because if you can mitigate this problem and nip it in the butt 90% of the time, then you're just going to minimize the chances of you having cravings in the first place. And then if they do come up, we have some tips and tricks for that as well. So buckle up. This is the probably going to be a little bit longer of a video, maybe like 15 minutes or so, but we're going to dive right into it. There's going to be a lot of value here. And like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and smash the notification bell if you find this helpful. Let's go.
To it. Now, remember, guys, if you want to nip cravings in the butt, the most effective thing to do is to change the foundation of your nutrition and your lifestyle. And this is going to look a lot like what I talk about in my other videos, which is building better habits and changing your overall lifestyle. And this is going to be a long-term endeavor. And it starts with knowing what your goals are, which is obviously to lose fat, regain your energy. But we do that by keeping your blood sugar stable and not having the massive fluctuations that you have when you eat junk food, calorie dense, processed foods, foods full of saturated fat. These are your burgers, your French fries, pastries, cakes, brownies, donuts, cheeseburgers, pizza, the list goes on, right? So we want to remove those refined carbs, calorie dense saturated fats from our diet, and we want to input in whole foods, right? So what does that look like? We're going to stop drinking anything that contains a significant amount of calories and or sugar. So that means, like I said, removing the sodas, the dessert coffees from Starbucks, removing the calorie-dense, sugar-filled energy drinks. All that you need to remove. And we're going to replace them with things like water, black coffee, herbal tea. For people who need more of a transition point if they're greening off soda and energy drinks. Zero sugar, zero calorie energy drinks like Zero Sugar Monster, sugar-free Red Bull, things of that nature, as well as indulging in even Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Sprite Zero. It's better than having the sugar-filled Sprite. So, that's the lesser of two evils. But that is a great step forward in mitigating and lowering your blood sugar spikes. And in terms of your food, you're going to centralize most of your food around whole foods, particularly protein, mono and poly unsaturated fats, and fibrous carbs, okay? Mainly protein, veggies, legumes, some fruit. That's what we're going to centralize our diet around, because this is what's going to keep you full and slow down your gastric emptying. And I'm spending some time on this because this is very important. Many people want to know how to mitigate cravings but don't want to do the actual work in terms of changing their lifestyle and their nutrition long term. If you try to use craving hacks without trying to actually change your lifestyle, this is a moot point. It's useless. So, getting further into it. When we make our meals, and this will be your biggest tool against waging war against insulin resistance and fat, is you want to prioritize whole foods, particularly protein and veggies, and eating these in large servings. And this is where most people mess up, is when they try to do keto or any of these restrictive diets, is they don't eat large portions of these foods. Now, I don't recommend keto or carnivore or any restrictive diet at all. What I recommend is just prioritizing whole foods that are nutritious. And in this particular case, this is what worked for me very, very early on, is prioritizing large portions of protein and large portions of vegetables. Because with prior to contrary thinking, this will make you very, very full. If you have 4 to 6 ounces of protein along with a large serving of vegetables, whichever vegetables you like, by the way, it doesn't have to be freaking salads or leafy greens. It can be carrots, it can be corn, it can be onions, it can be a mix of different vegetables, whatever you like, and you can mix it in with your protein, however you want to do it. But you need to make sure that you're eating large servings of protein. Ideally, this is white meat because we don't want it to affect your cholesterol as much. If you have more red meat, that does contain a large amount of saturated fat, and that can increase your cholesterol. I prefer, and this is what I do personally, and what my clients do, is a lot of chicken, ground chicken, turkey, ground turkey, and even sometimes some deli meats as well. But that is generally what we stick around. You know, you can do some ground beef here and there if you want to, especially the more lean versions that contain less fat. Those are great too. But yeah, that's what we try to stick to. 4 to 6 ounces of protein, because that's going to be a lot of protein to sit down and eat along with the vegetables. Now, if you have trouble eating vegetables, I would recommend that you eat the vegetables first and then eat the protein. Because if you have some fibrous vegetables like broccoli, spinach, kale, anything of that nature, or any of the other vegetables, can be whatever you want. But if you have anything of that nature, the fiber is fantastic to sticking to your gut lining and helping further slow down your gastric emptying. Now, the protein does that in itself, and so do the vegetables. But the fiber along with the vegetables is fantastic for doing this. It expands your gut lining and helps slow down your gastric emptying. And if you have large portions of vegetables and protein, you will be full for hours. Being full for hours destroys cravings. It makes you not want to eat anything. If you do this, then go on for a walk right afterwards, just to keep the blood moving and help further digestion, and have a large portion of water like 30 minutes afterwards, you're going to be full for hours. And this mitigates a blood sugar spike on top of that. Huge. This is how I recommend you break your fast. This is how I recommend should be the foundation of all your meals, but especially how you break your fast. And if you do want to have any carbs, what I recommend is that you have your veggies, your protein first, and then if you want to have carbs, that obviously are not coming from the vegetables, like more starchy carbs, that's what I mean. They can come from, 1 serving of rice or a handful of potatoes. It just needs to be eaten after you eat the veggies and the protein, okay? And you're probably not going to want to have a lot of carbs after eating, a large serving of protein and vegetables. But if you do want to have some carbs, you can have some sweet potato, even white potato, brown rice, some beans, black beans. They just need to be eaten after the protein and the veggies. All right. Now, this is going to be the foundation. This is going to nuke like 75-80% of your cravings, just with what I talked about in these past 2 slides. The next most important thing after the foundation of your food is sleep. This is heavily neglected because sleep regulates many of your hormones. As mentioned here, your glucose metabolism, your insulin signaling, your leptin and your ghrelin. Your leptin is your fullness hormone, and your ghrelin is your hunger hormone. All of this is thrown off when you're sleep deprived. When you're sleep deprived, your brain, your hormone signaling, all of that's thrown off, okay? And this is where your metabolism can become impaired, your insulin signaling can become impaired, and how your body just generally secretes hormones becomes impaired. Meaning you leave yourself more prone to glucose spikes after you eat. Now, a simple way to mitigate this is just simply make sure that you get 7 hours of sleep a night, that you get restful sleep, and that you do your best to try to wind yourself down to maximize your sleep quality. All right? If you do that, along with having a good diet, you nuke 90% of your cravings. If you've ever noticed on days where you have terrible sleep, your cravings go up, this is why. Your hormone signaling is completely thrown off. Get restful sleep. This will heavily help control your cravings, even without changing your diet as much. But changing your nutrition and your lifestyle along with your sleep, this sleep is a part of the lifestyle change. So doing this along with the food changes, this pretty much nukes 90% of your cravings. Okay? Now we're going to focus on the other 10%, intermittent fasting. Now this is just another tool that I use to help control my hunger and my calories. This is great for also managing hunger and cravings, but this takes some adjusting and getting used to. Now, I want to stress once again, intermittent fasting is not as helpful if you do not make the proper nutritional changes as well as sleep. Intermittent fasting, sleep, and nutrition all go hand in hand. With that said, one of the biggest mistakes I see with people making with fasting is they leave their fasting window way too long in the beginning, as they'll try to fast for 20, 24 hours. And what will happen is they'll start starving, they'll have massive cravings, and when they do break their fast, they'll eat a large serving of carbs right out the bat because they're starving, they have these insane cravings. Do not do this. Start your fast, or start fasting with a 12 to 14 hour window, whatever you're comfortable with and whatever time frame makes most sense for you. For example, this can be starting your fast at 7 p.m. and breaking it at 7 a.m., right? Or 8 p.m. or 8 a.m., whatever works best for you. And you can nudge that schedule a little further based on what works best for your schedule. Like, for instance, it might make more sense for you to break your fast at 11 a.m. Okay, so that means you're going to stop eating at 9 p.m. the next day if you want to do a 14-hour fast. It's completely up to you. You need to look at your schedule and see what time frames make the most sense for you. Now, as you get more comfortable with fasting, you're going to want to increase the time that you fast by 30 to 60 minutes every 4 to 8 weeks. This will help your body get more comfortable with going longer periods of time without food. Trust me, guys, your body is designed to go for long periods without ingesting any type of solid food, because, back in Paleolithic times or, hunter-gatherer times, when we ate, we were hunter-gatherers. We would hunt food, eat it quickly, and largely go a large portion of time without eating until we hunted for more food. And this is why your body is adapted to not being able to eat for long spans of time. And it is another reason why you want to remove snacking from your diet. So when you do break your fast, you want to eat as if you're eating normally, hence one meal at a time and not a massive amount of snacking in between. All right. Now you want to also stay hydrated during your fast as well. Staying hydrated just keeps you full, keeps your body moist, and just allows for your body to process more liquid. And this also helps massively control your cravings. Okay. And this is probably the biggest one. Do not wait until you are starving or having massive cravings to break your fast. Do not do that, okay? Don't do that. Have food ready to go. Know when you're going to eat. Know what meal you're going to eat. Plan all that in advance, okay? So you know when you're going to break your fast. You know what food you're going to eat. And you know where you're going to get it from. All right, this will massively help you guys be successful in controlling your cravings. So changing your nutrition, getting more sleep, and inputting intermittent fasting is going to be massive for many of you. And this is probably the most important one. I led to this in what I just said, but better planning and preparing. So where people go wrong is they wait until they are craving and or starving to figure out what to eat. And when that happens, I've been guilty of this. This is when Fat Boy Rob comes out. And Fat Boy Rob is going to make fat boy decisions. And he is going to want to eat a lot of junk food. What you need to do is you need to completely fire the fatty version of yourself. I fired Fat Rob, and instead, full Rob is the only person that can make food decisions. And Rob, that's healthy and full, he is planning and preparing his meals the previous day, right? And that doesn't mean always cooking and having things meal prepped. All that means is, hey, I know exactly where my food's going to come from. Like, it's going to come from delivery from this restaurant, and I've already scheduled it. It's coming at, 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. the next day, because I know my cravings will start to kick in around 2 or 3. So I've already broken my fast and mitigated that. All right? I already know where all my food is coming from. I've already planned and prepared, right? And this, for the whole week, might take 15 minutes. If you do it day by day, it maybe might take 5. Maybe 5 minutes. Now, if you're doing meal prep for most of the week, that might take like an hour and a half. But that's up to you if you even want to do that. For many of you, I know you're busy professionals. Some of you have a better income. You can really just use meal prep services or schedule delivery and just plan that out the day before. You can really do that. It's that simple. So that's completely up to you, but this will be the most impactful outside of the foundational stuff that I mentioned earlier. Planning and preparing is one of the best things that you can do going forward to manage your health. Now, this is like the final hack, and this is, if shit hits the fan and the cravings come on, you're doing everything that I told you before, and maybe that once or twice a week those cravings might kick in. Here are some go-tos that I personally use, that my clients use, in case they have cravings that come around midday. These are some low-calorie, low-sugar snacks that you can indulge in that are not going to massively mess up your diet or set you back. And what I consistently use are green bananas, because they don't spike your blood sugar. Protein shakes, same thing, nutritious, you get a lot of protein, they taste good, and they don't spike your blood sugar. I prefer the sugar-free ones, but, the sugar ones they can spike your blood sugar a little bit, but once again, it's the lesser of two evils, all right? Fiber One cake bars, those are fantastic. Each one is only 70 calories, hardly spikes your blood sugar, and they don't spike your blood sugar at all. They contain 70 calories. The Skinny Pop popcorn, this is fantastic also because this tastes really good. It's insanely low in calories, and you can have 3-4 cups of it, and it's only like 150, 200 calories max. It's ridiculous. You can snack on this at work like all day, and you won't have a large calorie bump. All right. The single biggest thing you want to do, though, is avoid junk food. Avoid the junk food and have this stuff ready to go. And you guys, if you follow everything in this video, you'll nip cravings in the butt completely.
All right, guys, I hope that was helpful to you. Now, remember, cravings are something that can be a beast to deal with, especially as you're transitioning over into a healthier lifestyle. But remember, there's some adaptation that your body needs to go through, and that can take some time. So be patient. And remember that if you follow all the things that I mentioned in these previous slides, it's going to be very, 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 very hard for you to have cravings even in the beginning. Okay? You want to indulge in large servings of protein and vegetables, and that's going to nip most of your cravings in the butt. Now, if you do that, and you make sure to get 7, ideally 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night, and it's good restful sleep, now you're off to the races. Now add intermittent fasting on top of that. You're going to nip 95% of cravings right in the butt. Okay? Planning and preparing on top of that, where you know what meals you're going to have, they're prepped, you know where they're coming from, whether it's delivery or a meal prep service, right? And having low-calorie snacks on hand just in case there's a little craving here and there. You'll never have to deal with you snacking on or binge eating on junk food ever again. And this stuff is insanely helpful, especially when you travel. You can follow most of what I mentioned here also for travel instances. You can have these snacks on hand as well as when you're looking for what food to eat. You can go to any restaurant and be like, okay, my goal is to load up on veggies and protein. How can I get that from this restaurant? Or where can I find that? All right. It's really that simple. But once again, the implementation into your lifestyle, that's the tricky part. That's what I work with my clients with. That's what I had to do as well. And it's going to look a little different for everybody, especially for you doctors, overnight workers, entrepreneurs who work insanely long hours. So there's a nuance there, but this is the foundation. If you want help with that, you can always DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and we can talk about how I can help you serve your goals. Or you can watch many of my other videos where I talk about this as well and how you can plan out your day and plan out your schedule so you can input in more healthier habits and pretty much healthier activities to help you get to your health goals. Anyway, I hope this is helpful to you guys. Follow me, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also follow me on my other social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm very active on there with reels and stories, so make sure to follow me there as well. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.